Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. My name is Martinique Brown. I'm so excited that you have decided to tune into the show today. I have Authorpreneur Miss Nique on the show. Don't be confused with Martinique. Her name is Miss Nique. She is actually the author of a book called If My Past Wasn't So Dark, My Future Wouldn't Shine So Bright. Miss Nique, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Queen. So, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So,
Good.
can you just let our viewers know just a little bit more about yourself?
Well, you've covered a lot. You are correct. You got that whole description down pat. Thank you, sister. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So, my born name is Monique Crusoe, and Cheeks. I inherited that. I earned that last name at Cheeks. I earned it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Um, that means that I married into that name.
Uh-huh.
So is my maiden name. And I write under the name Miss Nique. And I'm often referred to in everything I do under Miss Nique simply because growing up in my family name is Nique.
Okay.
And when me and my brother probably got to about like teenage years, he stopped calling me Nikki and just started calling me Nique, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I told him that I was writing my very first book and I wanted to have a pen name, he was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Why not Nique?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Huh, okay." I mean, not
Uh-huh.
like it's unique, but it still was original enough. You know what I'm saying? Where it's still my name.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, but Nique by itself isn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
I was like, how about Miss Nique? And then we both was just like, yeah, that's it. So
Uh-huh.
hey, Miss. And so that's how I, started with the name Miss Neat. But more importantly, I'm an author, entrepreneur, as you already stated, a motivational speaker, an advocate, an actress. I like to consider myself a queen of many hairs. So it's just the thing that I do. You know what I'm saying? It's just a part of who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I think I'm life's cheerleader. I'm like everybody's cheerleader. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you
Mm-hmm.
can do it. You got this.
Right.
That's just basically
That's
who I
good.
am
That's
in a
good.
nutshell. Yeah.
That's good. So now I want to give a shout out to Tevin Neal, who is actually tuning into the show. He said, Miss Nique, you rock. Um, Tevin,
Thank you.
Tevin, if you could go ahead and share this video now, that would be great. So I really do love the title of your book. Why did you decide to write your book, If My Past Wasn't So Dark, My Future Wouldn't Shine So Bright?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was very important that I wrote my story. Now, getting it out here to the universe, now that part was something that came secondary. But
Yeah.
it was important that I wrote my story because I was a young girl who was abused um, in virtually every way,
Mm,
physically, sexually, emotionally, psychologically, by the adults that we were supposed to trust. You know what I'm saying? And so I just I had to think, like, you know what I mean? Like I just had to believe that this wasn't my purpose. My purpose wasn't to be born into a life of victim, being someone's victim,
okay.
right? And so I had to believe that because I had gone through so much darkness early on, we're talking, my abuse started at 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I literally started really young with the experiences that I had. I had to believe that I had to go through all of that darkness so that my life, you know what I'm saying, would take off into a whole nother direction
Yeah.
later on. So if my past wasn't so dark, my future wouldn't shine so bright. Was almost more or less me predicting, right?
Mm-hmm.
That my future would have to be brighter because it started out so dark.
Mm-hmm. So you more so took a, I guess, a life perspective is, everything is already bad. It can
Yeah,
only go up from
exactly.
here.
Exactly. Exactly.
Uh huh.
It can only get better now, because it's so bad.
Mhm.
Like, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. That's exactly my perspective. Um, once you hit rock bottom, right? And I'm talking about, I mean, let's talk about what I write about in this book. I mean, I told you that, starting at the age of 8, I dealt with everything from, sexual abuse to physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse. But I mean, in this book, I talk about those. I talk about specific situations. I get very, very deep. I'm very detailed. I'm very honest. Okay, it's
Mhm.
a very, very, very raw book. Um, and but I also talk about being a teen. Being pregnant at 15.
Mhm.
I talk about attempting suicide. I talk about domestic violence. I talk about being a ward of the state. So, with the state or DCFS, because I'm from Chicago, so it's DCFS, but I know it's also those acronyms and so many other,
Mhm.
states as well. Um, having them come in and take me away from my family, you know what I'm saying, and having to live in group homes, and I bounce from family member to family member, and I mean, when it's all said and done, when I finally sat down and actually decided that it was time for me to write my story, it was because there wasn't no stories like that growing up.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
had not a single book to refer to when I was going through this stuff. You know what I'm saying? There
Yeah.
wasn't one author that I could think of, and I was a real big reader as a child.
Mhm.
There was not one author that I can say had a book out there that touched on just as much as I was going through.
Mhm.
Maya Angelou, she covered a little bit of it. You know what I'm saying? She covered, being molested. Oprah, she talked about being molested. You know what I'm saying? And being pregnant, as a teen or whatever. But no one went into detail what the emotions that surround that, the feelings that you have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No one went into any of those sort of details. And I just felt like that's when I made it a conscious decision to share this book with the world. It was
Mhm.
more than just writing it to heal me. You know what I'm saying? To relive the situations that I had incurred and learn how to heal from the inside out. It become more than that, right?
Mhm.
Felt like after I read over my story and after the wave of emotions I went through,
Yeah.
reliving those situations, I felt like at the end, that voice, you can call it God, you can call it, you know what I'm saying, the ancestors, the universe, whatever came to me and said, somebody else needs, someone else is going through the same or similar situations and
Mhm.
they could use it. Just as there was nothing, not a reference point for you, you can be a reference point for some other person. And
That's
that's
good.
when I decided that it was important to go ahead and publish this book. I'm very vulnerable in this book, guys. I put my whole soul out here,
Mhm.
because I am so raw in this book with my experiences. But it was necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, when you, I always look at when authors write books like this, do they have to, or in your case, do you have to prepare your family members and friends who you grew up with, who was a part of, your growing up stages? Did you have to prepare them with what they were going to read?
Um, yes and no,
Mm-hmm.
right? My situation is a little bit unique because I've never really been quiet about what happened to me and what, like throughout the years or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
my family's fully aware of my experiences. Maybe they didn't know in depth. Maybe they didn't know, you know what I'm saying, in thorough detail as I go into. But but I didn't really prepare anybody. I told them that I was writing a book. I told them that it was going to be a book about my life, and I told those people that were basically going to be in the book. This is the hardest thing I had to do was make a conscious decision on if I was going to use characters or real names.
Mhm.
That's the hardest. That was the hardest thing I had to do, and I'm going to tell you why. Why I chose to use real names
Mm.
because when I was done with the book, they had characters, and for whatever reason, I felt, I felt the healing happening,
Mhm.
but there was something missing. There was something missing, Martinique. Um, and it wasn't until I had a long conversation with my spirit. I was like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Why, why am I not feeling the full effect of, this what's happening? And it was at that point that I had to change the name. And I had to be honest. And I had to
Mm.
be brutally honest, you know. And I was expecting a lot of backlash. Trust me, I was so scared.
Mhm.
Oh my God. I was
Yeah.
so terrified. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I may as well right away some of these relationships,
Mhm.
I'm like, some people gonna be pissed. Some people gonna, you know what I'm saying? I really honestly did not know how it would be received. But
Mhm.
you know what I knew though? That in my spirit I was doing what was right for me.
Right.
That no one had anything to worry about because at the end of the day, you can either negate what happened or deny what happened. Whatever you would choose, that's on you. These are my truths,
Mhm.
right? And this is what happened to me as I remember it, right? So I'm not out here in the world trying to convince anybody that, this person was wrong or that person was wrong or whatever the
Mhm.
case. Whenever someone do something to us, it is how we feel about it, and then it is the person who is the doer, how they perceive it. You see what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
I never thought that I had to convince anyone that, this is the truth. No, this is my truth. And that's the
Mhm.
only thing I ask my family to understand and to take into consideration when they read my book, that these are my truths, okay?
Mhm.
And stories that I share in the book are how I remember them, okay?
Okay. Uh-huh.
If there are details that may be left out, and that's fine. If you remember it that way, these are how I remembered it. So this is my healing journey,
Mhm.
right? So it is not politically correct. You know what I'm saying? Um, but it is my truth. And I always felt good about that.
Mhm.
No matter how scared I was, no matter how nervous I was, I realized that at the end of the day, these are my truths.
Mhm.
These are my truths. And I need to put this out here so it can set me free. And it
Yeah.
has.
That's good. That's good. So now with your book, does it actually start when you were a child and then goes in, like, is it something gradual, like your darkness, and then it goes into being healed and delivered and really just getting your freedom as an adult? Is that where the brightness comes in?
No, candles. So the book literally starts the day I was born.
Okay. So when does
Yeah.
it end? Like when does the book, like what age do
I'm gonna
you
need
end
you.
it?
I'm gonna need you to let me finish my time. No, just like no. So I have to say this. The
Uh,
book takes a lot of, it goes, like a roller coaster. It goes up and down. Okay.
okay.
It starts with my birth, and then it goes through the dark times, and then it shows you some of the more lighter times as
Okay.
things go along. Okay.
Mhm.
However, it does end with me finally being a mom,
Okay.
finally moving to another state. So it does end on a higher note. However, there's many, many, many things left unanswered.
Okay. Okay.
Why it is so not only prevalent but important that I finish my sequel to it. Okay?
Mhm.
And that's where we go into if my past wasn't so dark, living, learning, and forgiving.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
because then that takes you from where we left off to today, to the
Right.
journey that I'm on right now. This
Mm-hmm.
healing journey, this lit path that I'm on, when I'm trying to walk down everybody's front street and light the path of everybody up front. That's where we are now, and that's what you will get in the sequel.
Okay, okay. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. What do you want people to actually walk away with after reading your book, If My Past Wasn't So Dark?
That's a really good question. I want you to walk away with a healing, right, of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I know is from like all the reviews of my book, and things like that, is that even if you were a child or a person who didn't have to experience any of these, tragic events or circumstances, you go away from the book understanding and appreciating, you know, and probably having more empathy for people who have
Mm-hmm.
endured
That's
those
good.
types of traumas. You understand
Right.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So this book is beneficial to everybody, whether you've gone through these things directly or because we all know somebody who's gone through, one, two, or if not all those traumas and then some. You walk away with, I think, a better understanding for why they do what they do, why they react the way they react. You know what I'm saying? How come some people don't feel love? You know what I'm saying? Despite having oodles and oodles of love around them. You know what I'm saying? I think that I opened the door and into an understanding, because I talk in the first person. So when you read my book, it's like I'm having a personal conversation with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is a whole nother perspective that that readers aren't used to. Like I'm talking in my book as though you and I are talking right now. This is how I speak. So when I'm talking about my story and and you're reading along with it, it's like you and I are having a personal conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that makes everything a little bit more personable and more relatable.
Mm-hmm.
So a healing is what I want people to know that you can be a child, right? And go through all of these things and have to face all these things and still choose that you want to be something great in life.
That's
You
good.
do not have to choose to walk in the trajectory in which your life seems to be walking in. Life's a choice. You can choose a different path. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, I did that. I chose a different path. But as you can see, when you read the book, it wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
I had to find my way. I stumbled. Hell, I gave up. I tried to commit
Mm-hmm.
suicide. I tried to be done with it. You understand what I'm saying? But when you read just how things click in my mind, how the universe comes together, how tapping into spirituality and everything comes together for me. And you see how my train of thought changes, how my perspective changes. That right there, I feel like that gives everybody hope that
Mm-hmm.
you can go through anything and still come out on top. That's what I want people to walk away from. That's what I
Yeah.
want you to know.
That's good. That's good. So I know you actually touched a little bit on your sequel. Can you just let us know a little bit more about your sequel?
So what it is I feel like, and I've been posed this question a million times, like, wait, I need to know more. Like, what happened with this relationship? What happened with that relationship? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How did you become where you are now? You know what I'm saying? What series of events got you to where you are now? To where you're on this, inspiring journey to just like, be a life. And excuse me, I'm sorry. I feel like I have to answer all those questions, right? I
Mm-hmm.
do go into a lot of, like I said, I kind of start kind of piggybacking off where I left off. But there are a couple of relationships that people wanted to know more about,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's a powerful situation, right? Because I talk about living, learning, and forgiving because it's important. Forgiveness is everything. If you have been hurt, if you've been wronged, if anything is gone horribly wrong in your life, if you have
Mm-hmm.
not learned to forgive, then you ain't living. Period. And people are misconstrued by forgiveness, right? They think that when someone says that you have to forgive, that you're forgiving that person. You know what I'm saying? For that evil, horrible thing that they did to you. But I say that that is not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is for you. You have to forgive what they've done
Mm-hmm.
so that you can move on. Because most times people do stuff to us and don't even think twice. They don't skip a beat. They don't lose no sleep. None of that stuff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we sitting here stuck in the thing that they did.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to forgive people so that you can move on. And that's what I talk about in the sequel. I give, again, just like first person accounts of situations, I elaborate more on the relationships. For one, I elaborate more on the relationship with my father. I elaborate more about the relationship with my mother. Those who have read If My Past Wasn't So Dark, My Future Wouldn't Shine So Bright, my mother, um, not purposefully, but kind of is like villainized in that book.
Mm-hmm.
That was never the intent. I don't think that, but a lot of people walk away from the book saying, "What's wrong with your mama?" You know what I'm saying? A lot of people walk away with that, but a lot of people always want to know what's going on with you and your mom. You know what I'm saying? When the last time you talked to your mom? And I'm proud to say, me and my mother have a full functioning relationship.
That's
Okay,
good. Mm-hmm.
and that's what I mean by forgiveness, though. Me and my father, full functioning relationship. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? And that's what I mean about forgiveness. That's why forgiveness is so important because you have to be able to move on so that you can live your life right. And just
Definitely.
because people have done things like for me, for my parents, they were not great parents. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to parent. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't know how to do it. And so they weren't the best parents in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But just because they weren't good parents to me don't mean that they can't be good parents to their grandchildren.
That's
You
good. Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because through my forgiveness, I was able to tell them what they had done wrong, right? Not only was I able to elaborate to them about what they had done wrong and how their actions made me feel, I was able to learn from the actions that they took, and I knew then what not to do. You see what I'm saying? And therefore, I gave them a chance to go ahead and come into my life and do better with their grandchildren. And they're very happy and thankful for that.
That's good. That's good. So now, when should we expect this book?
I knew that was coming. um, y'all, this new schedule real busy, but
Uh-huh.
I promise you guys, my goal is to have it out by the end of the year. I'm
Okay.
hoping to have it published in time for Christmas.
Okay.
In reality, I don't know if that's what will happen because what I won't do is rush it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just do really have to find the time to really devote to it. When I tell you that the publishing company has been waiting on me since like middle of June,
Uh-huh.
like the book, they waiting on me. Everybody waiting on me.
Uh-huh.
But that is on my vision board, okay? To have
Okay.
it finished and to hopefully have it out by Christmas. So I'm working on it, y'all. I just gotta figure out time management a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. So now I actually have Miss Neek's Facebook page in the description box. Make sure you go ahead and follow and like her page so that you'll be notified when she
Yeah.
releases that book. So I know that you are actually a serial entrepreneur like myself. Can you actually just tell us about some of the services that you provide as an entrepreneur?
Okay, so I mean, shoot, I've had everything from a home bakery to a printing, like a t-shirt printing business
Mm-hmm.
to, I mean, I'm a motivational speaker, so I'm pretty much, I am my brand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, pretty. Oh my gosh, actress. If you go on my website, you'll see, clips of movies, TV shows, things like that. So, I mean, when I say serial entrepreneur, like I'm always out here doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm a radio show host. I mean, the grind never stops. There's not enough hours in a day for me. It truly isn't.
Right.
There truly, truly isn't. And so I'm I'm a person who feel like I came from virtually nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I took what I had, which was virtually nothing, and I'm creating
Yeah,
something
that's good.
amazing. And it's not just something amazing for me. I'm creating something amazing that's allowing everybody to be a part of it. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I'm creating something that everyone can take a part in, that everyone can get a piece of.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Miss Nique is going to be a brand name. Do you understand me? That's going to be a name that you're going to recognize, and that's the legacy I'm going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I'm focused on. Leaving my babies a legacy. I am a mother of 10. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have to leave a legacy for them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So now I know that you mentioned that you are an actress. Are you actually, looking, to be hired in different things?
Child, she always ready.
So now, what
She
city do you live?
always ready.
What city do you live in?
I live in North Texas, so in the DFW area, so the Dallas Fort Worth area of Texas. Okay,
Okay.
I'm from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, by the way of Minnesota, because I lived there for 16 years, and then we moved here to Texas 3 years ago. So,
Okay.
look, I ain't afraid of flights. Okay, I will take a flight. So, if any opportunities out there, hit your girl up. I'm trying to tell you, you will not be disappointed. She a trip.
That's good. So now, if you are interested in contacting Miss Neat, remember her website is also listed in the description box. Is there any specific roles that you enjoy doing more than others?
No, she a whole character. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so just instinctually, I'm just naturally funny. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Uh-huh.
obviously, I'm just naturally funny. I'm a character, and I know
Uh-huh.
that. Um, but I love versatility. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a very versatile individual. I
Mhm.
can go from making you laugh to having you cry in a matter of seconds. That's just how I am. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
My wave of emotions are always at the extreme. It's either super happy or, super, emotional.
Yeah.
Um, I know that power that's in me, and I'm not always able to get it out. And so my kids think I'm crazy,
Yeah.
but it's okay because I don't mind. Look,
Uh-huh.
you gotta think you're a little crazy. You know that, right?
Right,
Okay,
right.
okay. So that's all that matters.
Uh-huh.
But I love anything. I love a challenge, right? I truly
Yeah.
do. I love a challenge. So anything that is challenging, anything that will allow me to tap into a piece of me that I didn't know was there, um, it's so welcome.
That's
You
good.
know, I kind of know who I am as a person.
Mhm.
And so I always think that I know who I am until somebody poses a question
Mhm.
or, or make a comment or test me on a level in which I've not been tested. And I
Yeah.
realize, yo, I can go to a different height. You
Mhm.
know, I love a challenge.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So, what type of events do you enjoy speaking at as a motivational speaker?
I have been a keynote speaker for the Minnesota Coalition of Battered Women. What they
Mhm.
did 2 years in a row, actually, and I was so proud that they called me back 2 years in a row, was they have a team summit. And this
Okay.
team summit is they hosted, well, when I was doing it, they were hosting it at the Mall of America. And it was basically, it was this full day of domestic violence awareness, right, for teenagers. I have keynote speakers at churches. I have been a keynote speaker at candlelit vigils for victims of domestic violence. I have host and speaker of social services,
Yeah.
with adoption and fostering, being that I was a ward of the state, I know the ins and outs of the system. And
Right.
so, as one of those children, now an adult, I'm able to kind of let foster parents know kind of what to expect. You know, because, and I want to touch on that a little bit. If there are
Mhm.
any parents out there, whether you're looking to foster or adopt, it is very important that you understand that what you are doing is an amazing thing. And we know that as the children, receiving that love and that care and that attention, we know that. But what I need you all to understand is just because you took us out of that bad situation doesn't mean that everything that bad happened to us is just going to be erased. And I think that that's where a lot of foster parents and adoptive parents get it wrong. You think that that baby never had love, so you come in and you give that baby love, and that baby not gonna have problems. You understand what I'm saying? That
Mhm.
baby still gonna have problems despite all the love that you give them, because
Mhm.
this was their normal for
Right.
however long it was. You know what I'm saying? And now you come into their life and you're giving them everything that they've never had. But they're still going to have problems because that's what they knew.
Mhm.
And until we work that out and address those issues, because they don't just go away because you give them a better house and a bed to sleep in and new clothes, that doesn't
Mhm.
make it go away. Them babies
Right.
got scars that's on their spirit.
That's good. That's so good that you said that. And it's not like you're just somebody that's read this in a book. You experienced it yourself.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And that's my point. There are a lot of authors out here in the world. Trust me, I read. I get it. There are a lot of things. A lot of people have gone to school and they got their PhDs and all of this stuff, which I don't find any of that. You know what I'm saying? But there are some things about life that school can't teach you. And what I share with everybody is personal.
Mhm.
I'm not just speaking it because it's something somebody told me, somebody put in a philosophy book. This is something I know firsthand. So when I talk you down your journey to healing, I'm talking it to you in first person because I know what it's like because I've gone down that journey. I'm walking that road with you. You understand what I'm holding your hand.
Mhm. I have a question for you. So I know that you were saying that you was in a pretty dark place to the point that you wanted to commit suicide.
Mhm.
How did you get yourself out of that? Like, or what support system um, helped you to get to that point where you said, I can live another day?
Martinique, I didn't have a support system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my suicide attempt happened in the living room of my cousin's house.
Mm-hmm.
I was on psychotropics for, depression, and I took a fistful of. I think
Mm-hmm.
I took the whole bottle. I'm not exactly sure. She wasn't supposed to be home, and she came home early from work, and I had wrote a letter and everything. So it freaked her out. She called the paramedic. I remember, like I was in and out. I remember a bucket, and I remember, like a man saying, like put your finger down our throat. You know what I'm saying? So I remember there being a bucket, and like somebody had their finger down my throat, and then I remember waking up in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I woke up in that hospital, two people were in my hospital room: my social worker and my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin had told the social worker she couldn't handle nothing no more. I could not come back to her house. I just attempted suicide. So this felt like yet another person shutting their back on, turning their back on me in the most vulnerable time there could ever be,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is how I'm feeling in that moment.
Yeah.
And it's raw. When I woke up, I was pissed off because I'm like, why am I here? Why am I alive? Why am I awake?
Yeah.
What happened? What didn't I do right? You understand?
Yeah.
I was angry.
Yeah.
I was angry. I
Uh-huh.
was enraged.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I still here?
That's good.
And I'm going to tell you something. While I was pissed off at the world and cussing God out like you would never believe,
Mm-hmm.
there was this little bitty voice in the back of my head. Through all the yelling I was doing, outwardly and inside of me, just
Mm-hmm.
screaming, screaming. there was this little voice in the back of my head. And that little voice was like, it's not your time.
Mm.
That's what that voice said to me. It's not your time.
Mhm.
And through all the yelling and loudness that was in my head, that little voice, it never got loud. But I kept hearing it say, it's not your time. It's not your time. It's not your time. And it just kept saying it real mellow until I started listening. And when I finally heard it, clear, say, it's not your time. The next thing I thought was, well, if I didn't die, then that means that I haven't I haven't lived up to my purpose. I haven't found my purpose, right?
Mhm.
And so I had a conversation with myself in myself, and I realized that it wasn't my time, and I still hadn't served my purpose yet. So now I need to find what my purpose is.
Mhm.
And that is probably the earliest of me actually getting on board, which no, well, that's when I realized that I had a purpose.
That's
Okay,
good.
that's when I realized I had a purpose.
Mhm.
Now a whole lot of other crap happened after that,
Yeah.
but that at that point, at least then that seed had been planted that
Mhm.
I had a purpose. You understand what I'm saying? And that seed hadn't been planted prior to this. So
Mhm.
while as traumatic as it was, having tried to kill myself, waking up, I realized that I had a higher purpose,
That's
and
good.
so
That's
it
good.
kind of started this all out.
That's excellent. That's so good. And I just think it's such a blessing how, in our darkest time, God still speaks to us and let us know, it's just not our time yet. And I think it's so instrumental that you mentioned it. It wasn't a screaming voice, but it was
It
a
wasn't.
consistent and a constant
Yep.
small voice
Yep.
that really just got your attention. And so I think that that's one of the characteristics of God. He doesn't give up on us, and He's
Mhm.
always just coming after us. And so that's
Yep.
just excellent. I know that you actually mentioned that you are a podcaster and you actually have a podcast called To Be Inspired Radio Show. It's actually aired on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can you tell our viewers what they can expect when they tune in?
Well, it's a little bit of what you're getting right now.
Uh huh.
However, it's in reverse. I'm the person that does the interviewing.
Right.
Um, I mean, to be inspired radio is literally what that is. You know what I'm saying? It's a platform that I have been afforded, and I want to share it with anybody who's doing anything encouraging, inspiring, um, life changing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's to me, there's just so much darkness, there's so much ugliness, there's so much evil out here in this world. I'm just trying to be a beacon of light for somebody, right?
Mhm.
And if I can do that with my big old raspy voice, and or if I can bring other encouraging people along, to kind of let the world know that hey, I'm here too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Then that's what really to be inspired radio show is about. You get to enjoy my big personality, um, and then you get to enjoy this big personality interview other people. Um, where the interviews go, we don't necessarily always know.
Uh huh.
But so far, they've always been very fun,
That's good.
consistent. I have yesterday was oh my gosh, was uh, man, was an amazing show. Was the first of our kind. We had everybody from a young man that I actually grew up with
Hmm.
from Chicago who created an organization called Men of Purpose. We had anybody from him to a very first author, to someone who just um, um, is finishing up their very first short film, to
Hmm.
Apostle Apostle Neil, who is in our comments.
Hmm.
So I mean, the variety of people that were on the show last night was simply amazing. And just being able to go from one subject to the next subject, almost seamlessly,
Yeah.
was, again, I like to challenge myself. So it
Mhm.
was so much fun. I enjoyed it. I
That's
enjoyed it.
good. That's good. So now, how can people actually tune in? Do you want them to tune in on your Facebook page?
They can certainly choose. I always post the links
Okay.
that'll take you directly to the if you want to stream it live. I always post the links. It's on Blog Talk Radio.
Okay.
Um, so it allows you to go directly to my show. So you got to do all this, click this, type in this, whatever, whatever. You
Mhm.
get the direct link. I am a little bit behind, but ultimately, I will be uploading all of those interviews to my YouTube page as well. So
Okay.
it's just an easier way to be able to go and check out the show. We rebroadcast on several major, radio stations and things like that.
Hmm.
So there is tons and tons of listeners. So it's just a really good thing. You can go to my page, you can click the links. I provide them. You can go to my website as well.
So, do you want to mention your YouTube channel so you can start having people subscribe to it?
Sure. So y'all, please don't sue me. I've just changed all my. I'm trying to be one person everywhere,
Got you.
guys.
That's good.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so please don't sue me. Okay, don't hold it against me. I used to be one Miss Nique
Uh-huh.
on YouTube, but
Okay.
I think I changed it to Miss Nique Revamp.
Got you.
So I'm Miss Nique Revamp on everything, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm Miss Nique Revamp.
Hmm.
Okay. That's MSNIQUEREVAMP. Miss Nique
Okay.
Revamp, literally. If I'm not Miss Nique Revamp on YouTube, then I am one, which is the number one, Miss Nique on
Hmm.
YouTube. Okay?
Hmm.
Don't hold it against me. I'm working on it. Okay? I'm
Yeah.
working on it. She always working on herself. She always working.
And that's exactly how it is. Like when you start these different social medias, like especially if you're not in that mode of branding yourself, you just
Right.
call it whatever is available
Yeah.
at the moment.
Exactly.
That's so good. That's good.
Exactly. I'm just being honest. One thing I
I
am is
know how it
always
is.
real.
I know how it is. I know. So, Miss Nick, I truly do appreciate you for being on the show, Author Snow and their books to read. And I really just enjoyed having this conversation with
I
you.
appreciate you utilizing your platform and sharing it with little old me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, guys, don't forget if you are interested in purchasing Authorpreneur, Miss Neek's book, If My Past Wasn't So Dark, My Future Wouldn't Shine So Bright, make sure you visit the description box because I have her Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and website link in the description box so you can purchase her book. Also, don't forget to share this video now so that more people will know about Miss Nique and all the gifts and talents that she has and about her story. Make sure you also subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. And if you truly enjoy these shows that I produce, I would love for you to go ahead and um, go visit my GoFundMe page, or you can also stop by my PayPal link. It's also listed in the description box. Miss Nique, again, thank you so much for being on the show.
No problem. Thank you so much, Queen Steffa. Look, thank you.
And I thank you all for taking time out to watch another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. I hope you guys have a great night. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Smooches.